There from George Pickens this week. What are you hearing about the plan for him today?
Well, the plan for him today is to play. He's going to come out here and test out that hamstring before the game. He popped up on the injury report on Friday. He was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday. Friday pops up on the injury report with a hamstring injury. I was told that yesterday he went through the walkthrough at the team facility, and they are going to test it out, but they anticipate that he will play. Mike Tomlin's team meeting message was very simple to this football team. This is not about revenge or retribution. He said, this is not a get-back game, even though they just lost 2 weeks ago to the Cleveland Browns in the snow, as you just saw. He said, this is a get-right game. We have to correct the mistakes that we had 2 weeks ago and get right. It's about us. And as for George Pickens, all week long, he refused to say publicly what he said one-on-one to George Pickens, except what beyond he said, listen, he's got to grow up, and he's got to grow up in a hurry. Now, Russell Wilson had very pointed advice for his young wide receiver. He told him, you're the best in the world. You're going to make great plays. That's enough. You don't have to do any of the extracurricular, unnecessary stuff. And Wilson said that his message really took to George Pickens. So we'll have to see. All eyes will be on number 14 in this football game. There's no question about it. Before, after, during the game, all eyes will be on George Pickens and how he reacts to some of the pressure that will be put on him by this Browns defense. Now, back in the day, Rex Ryan was a star of on Hard Knocks, but I got to tell you, Mike Tomlin, Rex, he's giving you a run for your money as a star of Hard Knocks.
That he's doing. Sal, we'll check back with you when Pickens is out on the field and see what he's looking like. On our show, Get Up, we've made Tomlin into a verb. The Steelers are Tomlining their way into a great record. This feels different this year, Rex. Has Mike Tomlin found a formula that this team could actually use to win the AFC?
Absolutely, Greeny. I think the AFC's down a little bit. His team is much better than it's been. And in this league, coaching still matters. It still matters. And Mike Tomlin, nobody does it better than him, certainly not me. But I'm just telling you that the way they run the football, protect the quarterback and let Russell do his thing, let him cook a little bit. And that was the thing you were more impressed with over last week, I know, Alex, when we were talking yesterday.
No doubt. For me, it's almost an extra gear, Greeny. I mean, I think we've seen or been accustomed to seeing the Steelers win ugly, right? Win with a formula. Hey, 10-13, a big defensive battle. Well, last week looked completely different. This was a shootout, right? That he walked into one of the best offenses and one of the best quarterbacks and Joe Burrow, and went toe-to-toe and, in fact, outmatched him. I mean, 400 yards. There was a clear, conscious decision to throw the football and put the ball in Russ's hands, and he delivered. I mean, for me, this was an extra gear that we have not seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers in the past few years, right? These Tomlin years that we've seen. Again, this team is one of the few teams in the AFC that's doing this, up and to the right and improving.
Yeah, for Tomlin to have the ability, I mean, I'll quote him, the standard is the standard, and how he sets the tone for the team. What that does to veteran players is that when I hear a message from my head coach that's so strong and so valuable to all players, it's like, all right, my leadership is going to be there. All we're going to do is complement each other. And that's what Sal referenced instead of Russell and Tomlin sort of tag teaming on Pickens. Because let's be honest. This is a loose cannon at wide receiver. Okay? This is someone that decides when they play hard. This is someone that has penalties that can sometimes hurt the team based on emotions. Now, Tomlin and Wilson and that offense, this can hold you back. This is a problem that I foresee if you're in critical situations like today, all right, and where there's a lot of trash talking going on, and you've got an emotionally unstable kid out there that all of a sudden there's a 15-yard penalty and people are worrying about getting his mind right. I don't know. Have you ever had an emotionally unstable wide receiver? How do quarterbacks have to deal with that?
You know, yeah, receivers are they're tumultuous, right? They want the ball. They're competitive. I'll say this, though. This kid is maybe the best big play receiver in the NFL, and he's young. And I think to have a guy like Tomlin, to have Russ, to kind of give that positivity and hopefully kind of quiet the noise a little bit may help. They need him.
You say big play. They say, the people around the league, he is as talented as any receiver in the league. It's eliminating all these distractions. Yeah. Ironically enough, when talking to George Pickens earlier this year, the guy that he loves more than anybody, the guy that he looked to more than anybody, was Randy Moss. We tried to FaceTime George Pickens on numerous occasions before the show began, and we could never get him on the phone. We continued to try. He's got to be there today. And we go back to the quarterbacks. That is the big difference in this team. They have taken to Justin Fields, and they've taken to Russell Wilson. They love Justin Fields, and they love Russell Wilson. And this is why Mike Tomlin made this change, because this team has always been good and competitive, but it's lacked since Ben Roethlisberger retired the quarterback to help it get to the next level.
Can I go back to something real quick on the point about Pickens?
Yeah,
you know what
please.
we would do,
How would
Drew?
you deal with that? Yeah.
Oh, you know what we'd do? We'd roll every coverage to him early. I don't want him catching a single ball in the first quarter, at least. All right, and reason for it, I want him upset on that sideline. I want him getting out of his game and out of his mind. That's what you do with some of these hotheads like that.
Yeah.
That you've got a veteran defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
Watch for that today. See if they don't roll their coverage.
The pressure gauge has only started to rise, okay, in these games. And we've got multiple weeks left where there's going to be more and more and more on the line. And how this guy is managed is something that we definitely should be watching.
Final note on this on Russ and what he's done for this offense. Since taking over, I don't think people know this. They are second in the NFL in yards offensively, sixth in points, right? Like, this isn't, again, this pedestrian offense as we've seen in Pittsburgh for the last 5-6 years. This is not it this year.
Part of that is the competition that they played, but the other part of it's enough weeks now that you can't hold that against them. Again, the most important part of this will be Sal's eyes on George Pickens in warm-up, so we need to make sure he's going to play before we can get to any of that.
Welcome to John Crowder's show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm back again with another sports show, joining you live from a spot here in the Battery, Atlanta, Georgia. If you ever get a time, come check us out. Want to make sure you understand that if you want to see some of the most up-to-date clips, shows, Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Pat McAfee, go ahead and tune in. Every day we're dropping clips and even live shows. So take the time to go ahead, like, subscribe, and even share this content. We're going to be pushing out a lot of content to you free. And also we're going to be giving away live tickets to sporting events. And we'll be live on set at the NCAA Championship, the Final Four. And also we'll be live at the Super Bowl this year. So if you want to win free tickets, make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned. Put the alert bell on. We're going to keep you up to date with NFL, MLB, soccer, baseball, hockey, all sports, and even giving you free picks on parlays that we hit very often. So go ahead and stay locked in, because if you blink, you'll miss it. Again, I'm John Crowder. Thanks for tuning in. What are some of the most iconic sports for you as far as moments? One of the most iconic sports moments for me was definitely when the Falcons lost the Super Bowl. Even though I'm a Falcons fan, it was heartbreaking, but it was definitely memorable. So that was one of the most memorable, ugliest moments for me as a sports fan. Go ahead and drop in the chat what your most memorable moment in sports was, and we'll be sure to comment and respond to that. One other thing, we definitely want to let you know that we do have sports picks, and we will be putting them in the chat. Our sports picks come with a lot of knowledge, a lot of historical data, and just a lot of professionalism. So if you want to start hitting some of those bets, make sure you follow our picks, and we'd definitely like to help you out on that. All right, this channel is completely free. We don't have any sponsors, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share this to get more content like this and to help us put out more content. Again, I'm John Crowder, and I'm joining you live from the Battery in Atlanta. Stay tuned for more episodes, more shows, and more content.